Ask Anita on this steamy Sunday afternoon in Philadelphia, watching the Phillies. So far, 3-2. They're losing to Atlanta. What else is new? Okay, so here we are, and I want to say a special thank you to my cousin Julie, Julie Chapin, and the people at Princeton Community TV. We had a very fun interview the other night. Adam Bierman and Lawrence Greenberg, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. We'll do it again real soon. And we were talking about this, the book that I wrote that's available at Amazon.com and also in the Kindle version, You Turn Me On a Radio, My Wild Rock and Roll Life. And I've been reading from it and remembering the days when I used to go to the Electric Factory as a child. I was pretty much a child, and how fun it was to try to make it home on time and not break curfew. One of those days was in a night in May, in the late 60s, when I went to see Iron Butterfly at the Electric Factory, and that's where we're going to pick it up in the book right now. I had to be home by midnight, which meant I had to take the 11 p.m. train, and I'd still be a half hour late. At 10:30, Iron Butterfly was in the middle of Inagata Davida, and it was the drum solo, and I knew it could be at least 15 minutes before the song ended. Reluctantly, I had to leave. I stood up and tripped over several people seated on the floor. The spotlight was shining on me, and I could hear people grumbling all the way to the door. I was humiliated, but I made my train. In July 1969, I went to see my first be-in. You remember be-ins? With boyfriend number one. The be-in, also the brainchild of the Electric Factory guys, was a free Sunday afternoon concert at Belmont Plateau in Philly's Fairmount Park. It started at noon, and the stage was set up in the back of a pickup truck. I don't know if you've ever been to one of these, but it was some of the most fun I ever had, and I still can't believe these were legal. The food was free. I wore my favorite outfit, a shiny leopard skin halter top, bell bottoms, and my red clogs, and boyfriend number one and I made out on a blanket all day and smoked a lot of pot. The Atlantic City Pop Festival, also the brainchild of Larry Maggot and the Spivaks, was scheduled for August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd that same year. It was 12 days after Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon, and 2 weeks before Woodstock. My mother refused to let me go to Woodstock. She told me to forget about it, since she was sure that no one would schlep all the way to upstate New York to go to a rock and roll show. Since my mother spent many formative years in Atlantic City, she encouraged me to go to the Atlantic City Pop Festival instead. Tickets cost $6.75 for one day or $15 for all 3 days. Can we just take a moment? Okay. My dad agreed to drive me to the racetrack, and I could stay for one day until 11 p.m., but no sleeping over. On August 2nd, my dad dropped me off at the festival, and I ran from the car as he yelled more instructions. The lineup for the day's concert: Creedence Clearwater Revival, Lighthouse, B.B. King, Butterfield Blues Band, Tim Buckley, The Byrds, Hugh Masekela, American Dream, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, and Jefferson Airplane. Once again, I had to leave early so I could meet my dad at 11 p.m., and as I started walking up the steps to leave, I heard the crowd go crazy. I turned around and saw Grace Slick had taken off her shirt. Years later, I would get to tell Jefferson Airplane's Marty Ballin that story, and also ask Carl Palmer if he played drums for Arthur Brown that day. Years later, when I was naked and in bed with each of them, I asked them all about it. Philadelphia's WMMR was one of the original rock stations in the country. It was the first of the East Coast stations to play music from the Grateful Dead, Van Halen, and U2. I'd been tuned in since 1970. I would sit in the parking lot of Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania, or Buck U, as we called it, in my red P1800S Volvo, smoking hash and listening to WMMR. I never missed Dave Herman's show called The Marconi Experiment. Carol Miller was the only girl disc jockey I ever heard on the radio. Carol Miller was on WMMR in 1972 while she attended the University of Pennsylvania. A year later, Carol was attending law school and working at WNEW in New York. On WMMR, you could hear everything, from Quicksilver Messenger Service to Country Joe McDonald and the Fish to Ken Nordine. The Philly Airways also had WDAS-FM 105.3, Philly's best R&B and classic soul station. In 1959, WDAS played rock music, and on Sundays only, classical music. Then it was 100% classical until 1968 when it changed back to rock. It was the age of underground or progressive FM radio, and the disc jockeys included high-lit J. Mark, who went on to Sigma Sound Studios and became an award-winning sound mixer, and my friend, and future WMMR jocks Gene Shea, Michael Tierson, Steve Martirano, and Ed Shockey. In the late 60s through the early 70s and the Nixon administration, there was a lot of censoring of music on the radio that involved drug content. The FCC tried to get WDAS station owner Max Leon's son Steve, who called himself my father's son, to remove the offending tunes. Instead, he played Arlo Guthrie's Coming into Los Angeles. Max Leon flew into a rage, trashed the studio, fired his son and the entire air staff. In 1971, WDAS played only R&B music and launched the careers of the OJs, Teddy Pendergrass, and Lou Rawls. The DJs were stars in their own right. For example, Georgie Woods, the guy with the goods. Georgie broke, meaning played for the first time, Sam Cooke's You Send Me in 1957. He nicknamed Jerry Butler the Iceman because he was so cool on stage. In 1962, Georgie played the Beatles' Please Please Me solely because it was on the VJ label, the same record company that Jerry Butler recorded for. In 1964, Georgie coined the phrase blue-eyed soul for the Righteous Brothers. All right, we'll get back to my Philadelphia DJ stories, more from my book next week. Until then, happy 4th of July when that happens, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Stay cool, everybody.